Hello and welcome everyone to the second episode of the BZCast. That is the Bunnyzine podcast. I have a very special guest with me. Our guest today is Penny Collins. She is with RagingBunnies.net. And regarding comic, I'm sure you guys are all aware of regarding comic with the cartoons that pop up all over your news feed. In the House Rabbit groups. Bunnyzine shares them on our Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram. She's all over the place, and those are awesome, funny cartoons. Just to fill in with you guys, before we bring her in, don't forget to visit bunnyzine.com, click our current issue, and download our current issue today. Please donate for our featured rescue of the issue, and we'll dive back into the issue after we're done with our guest Penny. So I will bring in our guest Penny Collins. Hi, Penny.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, doing just fine here in the grand state of Ohio.
Yeah, I was just out of Illinois here, so you're not too far away.
Oh gosh, Midwest neighbors, how about that?
How about it? And Midwest bunny people, right?
That's right.
So, I wanted to dive in with you first with RagingBunnies.net. That is your website for all of your artwork. I just want to dive into what kind of material that you have on the website.
On RagingBunnies.net, that's my portal of all things rabbit. I'm an illustrator, and I've been doing this for some time, and I do other work that's non-bunny related. Yes, but my primary focus now, I just decided I went for it. It's my passion, and I kept hearing from the universe, that follow your bliss. So I did. So RagingBunnies.net is the result of that, and you can get to my all my social media from there, my comic, which is regarding the secret life of rabbits, and my gallery, and I have a blog that runs through there, and my stores. You can get all my stores there too.
Okay, I think that's pretty awesome. I was looking through a little bit of your gallery before I came on, and there's a lot of interesting work. Everyone should check that out. The one that I think that everybody sees is, of course, the regarding comic on Tumblr. Before we get into that, for people that aren't on Tumblr, can you just dive into what Tumblr exactly is?
Tumblr is one of those, it's a visual, it was meant to be more for images. It's a blog site, and you sign up for an account, although to see the comic, you don't need an account. You can just go to it and look at the comic. You can look at anybody that's on Tumblr. And it's basically anybody posts whatever they want on there, whether it's images or social commentary, because one of the things about Tumblr is it has quite the reputation for what people refer to as social justice warriors. People are really using it as an outlet. And actually, I think the last time I saw demographics and statistics, the average age of Tumblr tends to be a little younger, but it is actually more popular than Facebook right now.
Oh, wow. That's
now, if you want to show me love and be one of my followers, you would actually have to sign up with an account. But you don't get emails and things like that, and you don't get email notifications only if you want to. It just works works a lot like a thread in Facebook, except it's like a never-ending thread. It just keeps going and going and going.
Okay. Now I think, how would you sum up all those comics? There's just so many different ideas. You put out 2 or 3 a week, correct?
Yep, I'm up Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. At least, I thought Monday through Friday at this point would be a little rough. And a lot of syndicated cartoonists do 7 days a week. So I thought, I'll start off the 3-day a week and see how that goes. And the comic itself is about my life with my rabbits, or I do invite stories from other people, other rabbit people, or things that I've vicariously experienced because of my friends with rabbits, or through stories that I hear and things like that. So I cover the gamut. So I go from just basically showing a view of my life to one of the favorites being the Big Bunny story, where the Flemish giant was rescued. That was like a separate little story. I've actually had a couple incidences where people wanted their rabbits in my comic and have commissioned me to slide their little bunny in there for the poster type things or things like that. So
wow.
I'm kind of yeah, and it's really fun. I really enjoy doing that because I get to hear about the rabbit, because that's the one thing I want to know. It's like, well, tell me about this rabbit of yours, and see what I can come up with. So that's been a lot of fun to do that.
Do you have cartoons? Oh, I saw the story with the Flemish giant, and that one always made me laugh, and that it turned out well, right? From what I remember.
Yes, it did. It was a happy ending, and when I started doing this, because as rabbit owners and people in the rabbit community, we know there exists out there. There is a need for rescue, and there's a reason there's a need for rescue, and especially, oh my gosh, those months after Easter, or and people just making these blind purchases or what have you. And I made a decision with myself that I would do my best to keep things, to show the happy ending, to be responsible. I want to show myself as a responsible bunny owner. I want to educate as much as I can, but I also want, as ridiculous as this is, I would like to give people a little hope, because there's so many tragic stories out there. I mean, all you got to do is look at any of these various websites and various rescue sites, and just look at some of the messes these rescuers have to clean up.
Yeah, we in our first show, which everyone, if you haven't checked that out yet, please check it out, with our special guest Ann Martin, the executive director of the House Rabbit Society National Headquarters. We addressed the Whole Foods situation because NBC in California covered it, and the LCA investigation, and they don't really paint very bright pictures outside of the fact that they are garnering attention. Like we're getting other people's attentions that aren't rabbit owners, because we came to the conclusion that there isn't really governed rights to, particularly with rabbits and how they're treated. That's like the all-in conclusion. We just got to fight for their rights. So it is like a very cool, positive thing to see, your stuff come up on there when other stuff comes up on the newsfeed. That's just like, oh, it just drains your day sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's heavy. I mean, and who knew? You would think, and I mean, non-rabbit owners I refer to as civilians, and they, they're out living their life, and sometimes they start to engage me. So, you own rabbits? It's like, oh yeah. And then if they're actually interested, and we start engaging in some in-depth conversation, they are blown away at all of the issues that come to the surface. The politics, and just individual, personal politics versus actual government, politics versus. I'm working on what my current comic that I'm working on. None of it has been published yet. I call it pet store politics, because there's that big issue. Do you buy a rabbit from a pet store?
Yeah, that is a hard question.
And it is a hard question, because I know there's people out there that, yes, they have bought their rabbits from pet stores, and they've been good rabbit owners, and they've lived decent, long lives. But the fact, you can't ignore. Well, you can, but there's that breeding machine that's out there that's literally breeding these rabbits, and they're inbreeding, and they're not healthy, and rabbits are going to pet stores with all kinds of sickness and getting the other rabbits sick if they're not already sick. And plus, when there's a rabbit in a pet store looking that adorable, because they do, that's a target for an impulse buy right there.
Exactly.
And people think, they walk into the pet store and they think, oh, let's get a rabbit. And then you've got, Johnny High School or, working at the pet store whose job is to upsell everything. And he doesn't own a rabbit because he's pushing the cage and he's pushing, this kind of litter and that kind of treat or whatever. And, so you buy all this stuff and you go home and, not you, but you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
These people go home and they buy that. And then the next thing you know, somebody like me or you or a rescue is getting that phone call because there's some abandoned rabbit hiding out under somebody's car, and they know it's not a wild one. It's like, there's a rabbit under my car. Could somebody please come get it? And you go get it, and the poor rabbit's half starved or mangy or sick or maimed or whatever. And that's just the fact. That's just a cold hard fact.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you asked me. I forgot. Totally forgot.
I think we were starting to talk about the Tumblr, and then we just kind of dove into it, which is okay. It's completely fine. There's no exact time limit to the format, so it's a very good discussion. But no, that is a very, very tough question, because you kind of fight between, I want to help, you want to get them out of there, but at the same time, you're kind of feeding the machine that is these breeders.
You are feeding the machine, and that's the problem. And I want to look at certain issues, and one of the gifts I got from my Irish American father was his sense of humor. He could find humor in any kind of horrible situation, and I believe it's important to look at issues. I want to bring a gift of lightness to it that doesn't devalue it or make it any less serious in any way. And I think that was the point I was going to make, is that's why I decided to do a comic.
Yeah.
I like to use my sense of humor. My rabbits that, God knows they crack me up every day. But one of the things is I was at a pet store not too long ago locally, and there was this darling little rabbit sitting there, and man, does that is it really a rescue if you buy him?
Yeah.
And of course I hear everybody out there all at once going, no,
Mm-hmm.
And then hearing the other people going, but I got mine from the store, and we've had her for 10 years, and it's been wonderful, and so.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just kind of, where I could see the person who just doesn't know kind of struggles, or even if you do know, you kind of struggle, and you just, even if the best option is to not buy them. You still feel terrible that they're in there.
Right, and that's hard, because you have to walk away.
Exactly.
You have to walk away.
Now, the Tumblr with the cartoon, just as far as design, what kind of what kind of program, is there a certain program that you use for that? I mean, is there?
Oh, Tumblr is like any other blog site that you go to. They have backgrounds for you that you can pick and how you want it to look. And there's a whole plethora of things. Some people's Tumblrs actually look like a website, and they have it set up like that. Mine, I mean, because I'm not all that web savvy, mind you. There are things you can pick up that are specifically made for comic books or one-panel comics and things like that. You can use anything out there. You can make your own if you're gifted in that kind of scripting. Yeah,
that does sound pretty inviting. You went over not too long ago. You went over the 15,000. Is that followers, likes, followers? Is that correct?
Followers. I'm up to almost 20,000 now.
Wow.
In that short amount of time. It's been quite a ride. I haven't even been doing this a year in terms of putting it up as a web comic, and I decided to do that. I researched so many illustrators and comic book authors and people that do this type of thing, and some of the people that I found that I most respect are web comic artists like Liz Climo, The Oatmeal. I don't know if that's one of the most popular. Pusheen the Cat. That's all a web comic based type thing, and I studied those people, and that's why I decided to do it this way. And of course, when you talk to these people face to face, they're like, look, it's a lot of work, and you've got to keep at it, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I respect anybody that does anything in the arts and stays with it, because it does take a lot of hard work, and it's not just, hey, I'm going to sit at home and color a picture and scan it and throw it up on my website and make $1 million. It's not like that at all. And I forgot what I was saying again. But anyway.
Well, you were just talking about the overall design of Tumblr.
Oh, the web, deciding to go with a web comic as opposed to, trying to go out there and get syndicated and get published right away. I decided to garner a following, and that was one of the things, like Liz Climo and The Oatmeal, that is one of the things that they said is, you got to work your first couple years getting your following for the comic. Now, I've been doing art for years and years and years, and and they say, find your voice, find your passion. I brought that up before, and it looks, I finally have got it. I'm almost dead, I'm in this, but I got it, by God, so I'm pretty happy right now.
Yeah, and I think most of us are pretty grateful for the comics. Every time I come across a new one with the whether it's Facebook or the Bunnyzine Twitter, it always just puts a smile on, I'd say, almost all of our faces, 100%.
Well, don't speak for anybody else, but that means a lot. That really, and it's truly. I'm one of those people. I can't believe. Anytime I hear it, I honestly, it's so humbling. I can't even begin to tell you how humbling that is. That my insane life with my rabbits makes people feel good. So it's good. It's good.
That is the perfect little segue, because I think I want to, and maybe I think our listeners will want to know the inspirational bunnies that you have at home. You have to introduce us and give us a little background.
Oh gosh, I have three, and I can't. I would be remiss not to mention my daughter. My daughter went through time in her life when she worked at a pet store, and that's how this started. And she ended up being one of these people that other people would turn to if they had abandoned rabbits or sick rabbits. So She started bringing bunnies home, and she was still living with me at the time. So, and we never had more than three at any one time. Maybe I think we had four. And we would bring them in, and we'd take them to the vet, and we'd nurse them back together, and we'd rehome them and make sure we knew the people and trusted the people and all that stuff. And so as these rabbits were coming into our lives and going back out and coming in and going back out, I'll tell you what, the day Lance walked into my life, I knew he was not going anywhere. Because that rabbit is just, we call him the family dog. He has never been in a hutch in his whole life. He was a free roam rabbit. The people named him Satan, and nobody, and he had been passed around a couple times, and he ended up with my daughter. I think my daughter actually kidnapped him. She went over to the house, and they were, oh yeah, we have rabbits, come over and say, and he's tucked away somewhere behind a dryer, and they're not really feeding him and taking care of him. And she walked in with him, and he was how, growing up, they say, when you meet the right person, you'll just know. Well, he was the right rabbit. Boy, I knew the minute I met him that was it. And then with Sammy, it was kind of the same thing. My daughter knew I would like Sam. She just knew I would like him. She couldn't expect. She's just like, I've got to introduce this rabbit to my mom, and so she ended up bringing him home, and same thing happened. And he's really different. He's a Rex. He's a full-grown Rex now, and he weighs about 9 or 10 pounds. He's huge. He's my big boy, and he's been roughed up a bit. He's been through it. And that's why we named him Samuel L. Jackson, because he's our bad little bunny, man. He's a tough cookie. And then Rosette was by the time my daughter has long since moved out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and she got Rosette, and that was her home rabbit, and her little heart rabbit, and she moved. So she brought Rosette over, well, it was Russell at the time. She brought Russell over and said, would you mind, keeping him around until I get moved in and settled, and I'll bring him back. And yeah, no problem. And that was the night I went, this isn't Russell, this is Rosette. Where was your head at? She's like, oh my gosh. She even took her to the vet, and the vet never sexed the rabbit. And so the vet just wrote it down that it was which vet savvy rabbits people get rabbit savvy vets people, and this is one of the reasons why. So
yeah,
brought her over, and that was one of those things that, yep, she's not leaving. She's not leaving, and she is the ornery. She gets in the most trouble. It's like if anything is destroyed, I know it's her. I just know it.
Would that be the little?
And together they're diabolical. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Would that be the gray and white one? The last one you were speaking about? Well, in the pictures, going by the comic.
Well, I have 2 Dutchies.
Okay.
And they're both black and white. And I don't draw them black and white because you never see the little eyeballs. But they're black and white Dutchies. And Lance is the one with the heart on his back. He's got a big heart-shaped spot.
Oh. Well,
And actually, Samuel L. Jackson's a dark black also. Okay. So, and you can't see. I brought him outside at night once to sit with him, and I put him in the grass right in front. I was sitting there with my legs crossed, and I put him in the grass right in front of me, and I was like, this is a really bad idea because you take off past the light, I'm never going to get you back. So I scooped him back up and took him inside. It's like, yeah, we're not going to play that.
Now you did say, we spoke on the phone before we started the show, that you were going to be at the Midwest Bun Fest. You want to just give us fans a little bit of detail?
Midwest Bun Fest in Columbus, Ohio. It's the first week of October. The date escapes me right now, but you can go to the MidwestBunFest.org. You can go to their Facebook page. I believe they're also on Twitter to get the exact date. It's a Saturday. It runs all day from basically, I think it's like 9 to 5, 9 to 6 in the morning. And all kinds of bunny people with their bunnies. Bunnies are welcome. Bunny products. But there's usually a glamour photo for the bunnies. They offer bunny massages. There are workshops and classes you can take on bunny health and bunny care. And I'll be there, and I'll have a whole plethora of products. I make mostly cards and postcards and some prints. And then I'll have a couple little things like coffee mugs and signs and things like that. And there's other artists there, peddling their wares. Dinky bunnies there with their products. And last year there was somebody there that was selling those giant cardboard castles for rabbits.
Oh,
those
yeah.
Huge things that you see. So they're selling those. Oxbow Hay was there. Oh, it was grand. It was wonderful. I've been doing it for a couple of years, and I look. That is the event that I look forward to every year for my work. I love being there. I love talking to the people. I love taking the rabbits.
Okay, we before we close you out, you okayed for some fan questions, and we actually do. I actually just pulled it up. Do have a few posted on here, and I will just read them word for word. If I
Oh
will.
no. Okay.
There's about maybe maybe five or six.
Oh, good.
We have, and I'm sorry if I pronounce anyone's name incorrectly. I'm trying my best. I have Tanya Powell. What was the funniest thing that your buns have ever done?
The funniest things? Oh gosh, I could never. I don't think at the time that they're doing things, it's all that funny sometimes. But like when Rosette ate my couch, that wasn't funny at the time.
Oh,
But,
I remember that comic where
yeah,
it lasted
that was a true story.
it lasted like a few minutes, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes, if that. It was put in the place, and I'm sitting there, and I hear that noise, and I look down, and there she is, just gnawing away. And I'm like, gosh dang it. Or, like I have the little thing about the piece of paper next to my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's Lance. If there is a stray piece of paper anywhere in the house, he will bring it into the bedroom, and he sits next to my bed, and he just starts gnawing away on that thing. And at the time, it's not that humorous. I have to admit that. It's like, Lance, come on, what do you want from me? Gosh, I think one of the things I can think of 2 things offhand, and they don't seem that funny talking about it, but went grocery shopping once and put the bags down, and I don't know who knocked the bag off the table. I don't know who was brave enough to get on a chair, get on the table, and knock the bag over, and it must have been Rosette. That's what I'm saying. But by the time I came back around to see what was going on, Rosette and Lance were barreling down the hallway I think she was trying to grab it from Lance, and Lance was just trying to get it down the hallway, but they had a banana. They had grabbed a banana and were just, fighting for it on their way down the hallway. And then what was the other? Oh, and the other one is anytime I vacuum the floor, Lance runs after the vacuum and tries to battle it like it's something important, and that's amusing to me.
Wow, that's a pretty. Those are good. Those are really, really good. Let's scroll through here. Okay, we have Autumn, Aasen, Asin. I'm sorry, Autumn, if I probably completely butchered your name. She's asking, tell us whose art inspires you. And then she also had a comment in here talk about blasphemy.
That's somebody that knows me. That's why.
Okay.
I have all kinds of inspirations. I think illustration-wise, Luca is one of the biggest. Some of my work reflects it, not a lot, but is Art Nouveau. He's one of the most famous Art Nouveau artists there is, and his work is astounding. There are many current artists out there who nobody would ever know who they are, that I will just be rifling through the internet just generally looking at artwork that just bowls me away. And of course, you would have to go to my website to look at specific people, because I'll put people's work up that I find horrifically inspiring, that
Cool.
makes me want to cry.
Aww.
And for comic work, I've actually mentioned a couple. Liz Klimo's comics on Tumblr are just, she makes me laugh. I mean, she makes me laugh out loud. And I suggest anybody look up Liz Klimo Tumblr. The oatmeal comes up with some really good ones too. There's an illustrator, cartoonist. He's not with us anymore, but his name was Cleveland, and he was famous for doing cats. He did a book that was solely on cats, but he also did like Playboy cartoons, Hustler cartoons that were really ornery, really, really ingeniously funny at times. And he also did a lot of blasphemous cartoons, which is probably where that's coming from. which never failed to make me laugh, and I always thought, that's it, I'm I'm doomed. I'm not going to be allowed in the gates because I think these are funny.
Let's see here. Okay, I have Simon Moore, and it says, bunnies and banana, how do you spot... It says, how do you spot am addict? How do you spot... I'm thinking, how do you spot an addict is what they were trying to say.
Bunnies and bananas, how do you spot an addict? Well, gosh, addiction, that's quite the mistress there, because those addicts get good at hiding their habits, running down hallway, stealing the groceries, trying to hide it from you.
Yeah, having another bun help.
That's right. The enabler. Rosette the enabler.
Let's see, we have... Okay, Robert Waters just says squeeze. He doesn't have a question.
Oh, okay.
With a ton of E's. Fred Lefebvre, I'm probably butchering that one as well. And I think you pretty much answered this, but I will still read it. Are the comics a reflection of your own rabbits? Well, you answer that with the Tumblr. And if not, where do your ideas come from?
Well, yeah, because it is a reflection of my own rabbits, but it's also, I also borrow from other people's experience. Because, let's face it, when you're a rabbit owner, there's a bond between people there, and it's the experiences. I don't want to say they're universal between rabbit owners, but I certainly understand a lot of experiences that other people go through, whether or not I haven't personally, experienced it myself. So there's especially with the rescue workers.
Yeah.
The stories I get from the rescue workers influence a lot of what I put into my, especially like at Easter time. I wanted to do the Easter campaign about choosing chocolate, the Make Mine Chocolate campaign that came out of Columbus. And I did a run of choose chocolate instead of a real bunny. Mm-hmm. And, the big boy type thing and the one that I'm telling you about now, the bunny that's in that one is actually a rabbit that was from a rescue that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
So I borrowed that character. Yeah.
And this last one, it seems like it is from a, I didn't click their name, but Bun RWA. Bun
Ra. The poet. The rabbit poet.
Okay. It says, so, seriously, please expand upon we marvelous beasties and how unique and special we are.
Oh gosh, that would be a whole different show. One of the I don't touch upon it too much in my comic. I don't think at all. But in my other work, I focus a lot on spirituality, and I approach spirituality in such a way that it's not about whether or not you believe there's an afterlife, or whether or not you believe there is a creator, or a god, or a godhead, or goddess, or anything like that. It's the overall connection, that thing that you can't explain, that you have with the rest of the universe type thing. So I'm getting real heady here. But it's the idea that my personal experience has been, I grew up in a farming community, and I've been around animals my whole life, but I've never experienced an animal-person bond like I have with my rabbits. And so that got me, really exploring how other people feel about the animal-person bond, and you get into the slight illness. When people put, and it's a fine line, because you can't put too many human qualities on an animal. Because then it becomes a sickness, and you lose track of the fact that they are creatures, and we're supposed to be somehow more intelligent or above them and responsible. But it's the rabbit holds a very interesting place in terms of spirituality and artwork and symbolism. I think the most popular one being the Easter Bunny, which was the goddess Esther's messenger. He was a messenger for her, and rabbits are known to be the messengers to the underworld, to the earth, because, they were seen burrowing into the ground, so that got attached to them. So there's all kinds of things that make them special and unique and incredible, and just, gosh, I better stop there, because I'll just talk for another hour. We'll just
No, that's...
research it. Research rabbit symbolism, spirituality. It's all on there somewhere.
Yeah, it's there. There's no question that they just, when you just like hold one or like lay down to one, and they just know that there's that special bond, connection, and trust. There's just no explaining it.
Right. There are no words, and I try. I'm a big advocate of owning rabbits, obviously, and I'll be the first person to say you will. I can't say anybody else will, but I have never experienced that kind of connection. If you even want to call it that. I know there's the very pragmatic folk out there probably listening to it. That sounds ridiculous, but there's no other way to explain it. And and for me, it's a spiritual sort of type thing, because I assign that to it. But at the same time, I am also the first person that will say, you better make sure you really want a rabbit as a pet, and do your research and look up how to take care of this. Talk to other people that have rabbits, how they take care of it. Get your vet first, so when you do get your rabbit, you can take it to your vet. And let's talk about hutches. Let's talk about, the area that they're going to be living, because it has to be bigger than that hutch that I know you're probably thinking about getting for it. So, and it's really odd. It's like I sit in cognitive dissonance with it. Like, this isn't a starter pet. You better be really responsible with this, because these animals are really important to me, because they're such great pets.
Yeah, they are. And there is one last one, and then we will just we'll let you go. It is Caitlin.
Hang up on me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you No, not at all. You've given us like a great show. What is I'm assuming it is the banana heist or the couch, but what's the Caitlin Weeks? What's the worst thing your rabbit has ever done or gotten into?
That's my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Caitlin Weeks is my daughter. The couch was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. The worst thing they've ever done or gotten into, that would be another one I'd really have to, because you know what, it really hasn't been. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I've had clothing laying around that wasn't my clothing, that they have indulged themselves in, that you would pick it up and there'd be holes, and I'd just refold it and try to hide the hole so that the person wouldn't know. It's damaging things. Oh gosh, they ate through the phone cord of the landline. Yeah. Got a brand new landline. Got everything hooked up. Honest to God, the next day I pick up the phone and it's like, how did you get to the cord? I had it all bundled up. I didn't even know there was a rabbit around there, and I had cardboard all around it. But somebody managed to get up there and move the phone just in such a way that they got the cord. So things like that. Those are the bad things that they get into.
They're just so nifty, aren't they?
The worst. Gosh, they're diabolical. Are you kidding? The worst thing for me, I have a mulberry tree out in the backyard, and last year at this time, the mulberries are dropping right now, as a matter of fact. Okay. And Lance and Rosette, we were in some outdoor time, and they ate some mulberries, and they both got stasis. And she got it first, and I started taking care of it, and I didn't, and this is my own ignorance, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, mulberries, how hard can that be on the system? But they're fruit, and they have seeds.
Okay.
And that's not good for a rabbit's intestines. They're hind end digesters, and they're like horses, and you can't have all that sugar and all those seeds, and and God knows what else was going on in their lives at the time. So then he got it, And I thought, okay, I've got a handle on it. At least I know how to treat this. Not saying it wasn't as terrifying for me, especially because it's Lance. And then he went into bloat. And it was the most horrible experience. And oh my gosh. And the vet that I have, and he was just so wonderful. Oh my gosh. And he actually, my rabbit had to go, he went for the surgery where they put the tube down to expel the air, and he survived all of this. And he's no ornery ever. But that was horrible. That was just the most nightmares. I slept with them on the floor and cried every night. You know, this is, my bunnies.
No, that stasis is a very, very scary thing. It's treatable, and a lot of bunnies beat it, but it is a very, very serious thing. Well, I mean, this is a super, filled show. I mean, so much stuff we covered. Stuff that I didn't even think I would even be close to writing down in preparation.
Sorry about it. And the people that don't own rabbits thinking about it, look up stasis. Look up dietary care of your rabbit. Think Timothy hay.
Yeah, we always, whenever we do get questions, and you said earlier you get questions sometimes from non-bunny people. I always say, rabbit.org, House Rabbit Society website, that's got everything, the diets and the bonding, and it literally covers everything, rescues, if you're looking to adopt or if you want to volunteer.
Right.
So those are the ones I always recommend.
There's a rescue in every major city in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So, adopt, don't shop, and go to the rescues, and they will work with you. And when you find that you're having some issues, or if Bunny's not quite fitting in, call the rescue. People, they will help. They want this to work. They're rooting for you. They're rooting for the rabbit, and they can guide you to the local vets and other people to help. It is quite a wonderful and a strong network.
It is, and it's a really big. It seems like it's expanding, an expanding community that we're very proud to be a part of. Well, again, it was a very packed show. Penny, thank you for coming on. We would love to have you on in the future.
Fantastic! Thank you.
Yeah, and again, if there are for everyone listening, go to ragingbunnies.net. That's correct, Penny, right? .net?
Yep, ragingbunnies.net.
To check out all of Penny's work, and then, of course, the regarding comic, search that in Tumblr. See all the amazing cartoons, almost 20,000 followers. If you're on Tumblr, that's a must follow. Come on, people. So.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, come on, people.
I want to publish this thing. Let's go.
Exactly. Penny, thank you again. And
thank you.
We can't wait till Monday. And if update on your social media as well. If you do come out with those political ones, if you decide to go with those, I believe you were talking about those way earlier in the show.
Oh, I will go with them. I just want to finish the story before I start publishing them, online. So
cool. So that's a nice little plug, future announcement for a next comic strip.
And I want to thank all the bunny people and the rabbit folk out there, because the support that I experience from each and every one of you is so it's overwhelming in a good way. I am never not amazed by rabbit people. And really, thank you. It's such a learning experience, and I get the warm fuzzies. It's one of those things. So.
No, we thank you again, everyone at Bunnyzine, all of our listeners. Thank you again, Penny, and we will be in talks in the future, and we are looking forward to your new comic on Monday.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Yep.
You have a nice evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Are we?
Well, I'd like to thank Penny Collins for being part of the show. She just gave us so much detail about her website and her comic. Again, that is ragingbunnies.net. For all of her different kinds of artwork and regarding comic on Tumblr. If you're on Tumblr, again, that's a must follow. I want to get back into our June issue real quick. Our June issue this month is based around meeting the residents of the Fairy Castle. Meeting the residents of the Fairy Castle farm. There is one sad thing I have to report. We saw that a resident of the Fairy Castle farm had passed away earlier in the week. I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon on June 19th, and I saw earlier in the week that a hen, the 7-month-old hen, had passed away. So our condolences are with Yolanda and her hen baby that passed away earlier in the week. Our condolences are with everyone there. And I have one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys. On Twitter, about a week ago, we came across, I won't use their exact name, someone who was trying to get rid of their bunny. Not get rid of it, but, just couldn't take it with them on the move. These kind of things happen. It sucks when that happens. There's no easy way to put it, but it's a sad truth that those things happen, and the person didn't know what to do. They were tweeting out that their bunny needed a new home and couldn't find anything, and they put them on Craigslist. Luckily, the Bunnyzine team and other people kind of intervened and made sure that the ad was taken off. We just want to say that Craigslist can be a very, very dangerous bunny place. You just don't know what kind of people on there, if they're rabbit savvy, or what kind of intentions that they have for the rabbit. So, again, I'm not sitting here as an expert, but again, go to rabbit.org, look up your local rescues, go on the house rabbit groups, where they're like, the certain group I'm part of on Facebook is like over 6,000 members. Those are people in there that are part of rescues that will gladly help you out. And, find your bunny a safe home. So that is my little public bunny service announcement kind of thing. Again, everyone, check out our social media pages. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to try to do maybe 2 or 3 podcasts / videos a month, depending on the, how schedules work out with the guests. Our Twitter handle is officialbzine. That is, again, @officialbzine. Our Instagram is @officialbunnyzine. And then on Facebook, we're just Bunnyzine. I'd like to thank all you guys for listening to the second episode. Again, I would like to really thank Penny Collins for all that detail. That was a really amazing stuff. And again, if you haven't checked out our first episode with the executive director at the HRS National Headquarters, Ann Martin, that's also a very good episode. Please check it out. And stay tuned for our issues that come out every first of the month. That's our goal, and I think we've covered that every month, as far as I know. So again, July 1st, our new issue will drop. HRS National Headquarters will actually be our featured rescue. And again, that's on bunnyzine.com. It's pay what you want. You could even download it for free, but we advise always to, throw in $1 or anything else to donate to the featured rescue. That's what it's all about, is helping out these rescues that do so much work. I'd like to thank you again for tuning in, and stay tuned on those social media pages for our next episode, next issues, any updates. Thank you all. Have a good night.